how you will rank like shoe brands, celebrities, superheroes. So yeah, I want to speak with you about how I will rank like luxury watches. Rolex is not the best of the best, even if you compare it to brands like Jaeger LeCoultre or brands like Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin. They have more in their house than Rolex has. So I made my own tier list. So first I have Tag Heuer. What can I say about Tag Heuer? In the past, Heuer was a really, before it was Tag Heuer, Heuer was a really nice brand with nice watches. Reissues like the Monaco, they are loved by a lot of people. Remakes of older watches. So if it's about Tag Heuer, I will buy it. If I have the money, if you like Tag Heuer, why not? I think there's a market for them. A Lange & Söhne is a German brand. Very high-end watches. Their movements are just really high-end. The finishing on the watches are amazing. It's yeah, I think it's maybe if you have like big Swiss brands with high-end finishing, handmade watches. I think this is the German watchmaking, maybe one of the highest levels of watchmaking. So I will put them on nice. I think maybe even on amazing, really nice watches. Daniel Wellington. So Daniel Wellington, I'm not sure. It's just a fashion brand, but most time I'm thinking Daniel Wellington is just they go to Alibaba or AliExpress and they just order a watch and they just only stamp their name on it and they didn't design the watch themselves. So it's not really original. Most time simplistic design. I think every watch lover know Junghans with very simplistic designs like the Max Bill. I think they try to mimic like something like that. So I would say it's garbage. Gucci. Yes, Gucci. I think Gucci has their own design and I will put them like meh. I've seen in the past one, but I'm not sure on Gucci watch. I think it was pretty, but Gucci is, I think it's overpriced fashion, but they have their own design. In if you compare it like to Daniel Wellington. AP, Audemars. Audemars is like in the past you have the big three. So you have Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin and AP. And they are the big three. In the past they made really nice classic watches. But nowadays they are only popular for their Royal Oak. Yes, the Royal Oak is a sport watch. AP making their finishing is much better than brands like Rolex. I have a friend who has an AP, and I tried like 1 or 2 times his watch. And I think it's a really amazing watch. Boulevard, but I don't agree that Boulevard is trash. But they have a rich history. Boulevard, in my humble opinion, have some great pieces. Cartier, where do I put Cartier? I was thinking about putting it on amazing. I think Cartier is, why do I put it higher than AP and Lange & Söhne? Not because of the movement. Yes, now I think last year's Cartier did make much nicer movements and they put more effort in that part. Cartier is like, I think it's the king or the queen of fashion watches. I think Cartier is almost synonym with fashion. It's something on itself. Casio. What do I think about Casio? I think Casio can be god tier because who doesn't have had a Casio? I think almost everyone. Casio is maybe one of the most recognized brands when it's about watches. Everybody knows what is Casio. Timex. Oh, really difficult. I think the last watches of Timex, they did make reissues. And those are really great. I really love them. But I'm not sure if I want to buy one. It's really between I would buy one or meh. And if it's meh, I will put it like here. Just one step and it's like I will buy it. Citizen. Oh, also very classic watch. Most time they are just like basic classic watches. But reliable, Swiss made. Yes. Citizen make very nice timepieces. I put them on what buy. It's like on the lower end of the market. Just you can buy for a couple of hundreds of euros. You can buy in Citizen, or even cheaper. Maybe for 150 euro you have in Citizen. So nothing wrong with Citizen. I think this picture is not this Breitling. I think Breitling is also a very nice and interesting brand. Breitling is, I know them from the Navy timers, so I really like those Breitling Navy timers. Also, a lot of people are complaining about Breitling. Lately, they are just also going in their heritage, making some more classic watches. They always had Navy timers also in the collection, and Navy timer is just a pilot watch. It's big. It's one of the classics, yeah. Between nice and would buy. I like Breitling more than Tech Heuer. Maybe here. Nice. So Fossil. I had in the past some Fossil watches. Yeah, they are fashion watches. It's just like Timex. They make very nice watches, affordable. I think it's just, I think they are better than Gucci. They have more their own style, but so I will put them on meh. GShock. I think GShock is also a very interesting one. GShock is also, I think, a sister company of Casio, or is owned by Casio. But GShock are really reliable. They are well made. G-Shocks are those watches you can beat them. I think you can even beat a G-Shock with a hammer. And what's interesting about G-Shock, you have now also G-Shock, they make them also now in metal. And I think those are very pretty, but I will put them here. I will buy one. And I think nothing wrong with the G-Shock. Some limited editions can be very expensive even. Sometimes even in the thousands of dollars. So you have Seiko and Grand Seiko. Like Seiko is their more affordable line of watches, and Grand Seiko are really the high-end made watches by the same company. One tier above Grand Seiko, Crador. You have Crador, and I think that is the highest level of watchmaking that is Seiko doing. And so below that you have Grand Seiko, and below that you have Seiko. Seikos are just very nice watches. I think when it's about watchmaking, I think I'll put Grand Seiko on amazing. The finishing is just almost perfect. The dial, the hands. Grand Seiko always have like very sharp designs. I think when it's about perfection, Grand Seiko is really amazing. And Seiko, yeah, I think Seiko is also a very nice brand. I think I will put Seiko there. Hublot. Yes, I know a lot of people don't like Hublot because some of their marketing decisions, but I think Hublot is not trash. If you like one of their designs, you can afford one, and you really like the watch, why not? They are well made, and maybe they're a little bit too expensive. What's about Invicta? What's about the price of watchmaking on the low end of the market? Really affordable. They have their own designs. Invicta, they just use nice movements for a good price. They don't make high-end watches because Invicta wants to be affordable, but their movements they use are just very reliable movements made by Seiko, by ETA. When it's about Invicta, it's all about their designs. You get a lot of watch for not a lot of money. I think that's the trademark of Invicta. So you will pay not a lot of money for a nice watch with just a reliable movement. I also collect their vintage pieces, and you can see the same thing with also in the past. When in the past they also made watches that are on the low end of the market. I got some older vintage pieces from the 50s or the 60s, and with the price tag and with the receipt, and they are really cheap watches. In that time, they were Swiss made in that time, but really cheap. And the movements they didn't make themselves. They just bought the movement from reliable manufacturers. So nothing wrong with that, but they had their own designs. Yes, for that time, very delicate, very small designs, but they made their own designs and their own casings, own dials, and they bought the movement from a lot of manufacturers like ETA, AS, Landeron, Valjoux. But I will put Invicta. I think went about their own designs, about affordable luxury watches. I will put them on par with Seiko, with Breitling, with AP, with a Lange Sonne. Not because their movement is that well finished. For the price, you have a very nice watch with quality, with their own designs. Omega. Yes, it's a difficult one, but I think I will put Omega also on nice. And why? Just after AP. Omega has a rich history, like with the Moon watch. Maybe if we're going to Rolex, if you compare it to Rolex, I think Omega even has more to offer than a brand like Rolex. Rolex has the name and also the history. I think you get more watch with Omega and you pay less. Jacob and Co. So a lot of watch collectors really hate Jacob and Co. And that's because Jacob and Co. have just really extraordinary designs, and also I think it's also art. I think the Astronomia, yeah, I think it's a really nice, well-made watch. Jaeger, I will put Jaeger, I think, on amazing. Junghans, yes, Junghans. I told you Junghans has those very classic designs with the Max bill as example. Nothing wrong with it. I will buy one if I can. Movado. I will put Movado for myself on meh. Movement. Yes. Movement is just like Daniel Wellington. Panerai. Panerai gets a lot of hate. If you have one Panerai, you just don't need another one. I think Patek Philippe is synonym with Swiss watchmaking. Patek Philippe is very nice. Swatch. Swatch I will put together with Patek Philippe and Casio on top. Swatch is a famous brand that also owns the Swatch group. A lot of brands like Omega inside the Swatch group. Also, they also have their own manufacturer for movements. So they are also owners of ETA movements. Rolex. I will put Rolex on nice and not on they are the best of the best. I think Rolex are well-made watches. Nothing wrong with it. Movement in-house, nicely done. You cannot see them because they always have a closed case back. If you compare them with Omega, I think Omega with the coaxial is just a much better movement. Tissot. I will put Tissot together with Citizen. Nice watches, classic designs. Nothing wrong with Tudor, the sister company of Rolex. I will put Tudor, nothing wrong with. I think the Black Bay is a very nice watch. Tudor is a sister company, but they say they have their own designs, but I think it's very similar to Rolex. So if you cannot afford a Rolex or you cannot buy it because you're not on the list, a lot of people go to Tudor. Vacheron Constantin, and I will put Vacheron on amazing. I think Vacheron went about classic watchmaking. Vacheron, it's doing its thing. It's making very nice watches. So if you like classic watchmaking and you have a lot of money, Vacheron Constantin. It's also one of the 3 brands that I mentioned earlier. AP, Patek Philippe, and Vacheron. I think Vacheron is the oldest of the 3. Versace. I will put Versace here. Also a fashion brand that I don't like. Zenith El Primero. Very nice watch. The first automatic chronograph. Nice. Eterna. Eterna is a brand. Also very interesting history. Nowadays they are just a small company. Owned by the Swatch Group, but they started the ETA. Now ETA is owned by the Swatch Group, but in the past Eterna was the owner of ETA. This is my list. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about this list. Do you agree with me? I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, give it an, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.
you.